John, and she's going to win more races.
Yep, she burst away from them. Bewilder's in second place with the white cap, and down the outside, Sweet Consort, who'll possibly get away with another mare's race.
Bewilder looked the only one to beat it. The Andrew Gibbons rode it very, very well, gave it every chance. It just wasn't good enough.
Run in a year yesterday.
Yeah, certainly, and look, it won very well down at Caulfield yesterday. It was a good meeting, and Suresh was just too strong in the end. The dogs were barking early on that Suresh was going to be a horse to contend with in this race, and it was just far too strong.
Who's the jockey, by the way, in the pale blue sleeves, pale blue cap coming down the outside?
Yeah, well, I'm going to tell you it's Gavin Eads from Sydney, and he's now down, well, Group 1 originally in Melbourne, but he's having a bit of luck for Cummings at the moment. This Suresh was a good win. That wasn't a bad field yesterday, and I think there's a bit of improvement in the horse too. He might have been a bit big in the yard as well.
Simon, did he break down? I see he hadn't had a run for a year.
I'm not sure of the problem behind him, but the two good things basically were that I think he's back to his best, and G. Eads is back to his best a little bit as well. He's riding some good winners around Victoria. At
Flemington on Friday. Now, Simon, there was one filly in the race, and that was the winner, Wexford, a Tasmanian filly. But the horse I've got to show you in the woodland stud colours, see the All Cerise, Pharynx. What a one-pace plugging sort of a horse, but watch him get to the line here.
Yeah, certainly does get to the line well. But the filly in the race was the one that won the race in the end, and that probably sent a few shockwaves through the punters at Flemington. Pharynx was a good run. Johnny Hawkes was a little critical of the ride of Darren Gauci. It wasn't a great St Ledger. That's not taking anything away from the winner. You've only got to beat what's put in front of you, but it's probably not the best St Ledger we've seen.
OK, we'll go to break now on the racing show, and as we go out from this segment, we're going to watch two of Australia's strongest jockeys, Jimmy Cassidy and Kevin Moses, staging a battle royal in race 6 at Rosehill Gardens. The corner, Warning Bell is the leader. In second place, 3 deep is Basara. Babu's Boy on the fence is immediately under pressure. Then Quality Flight, followed by Flying Canterbury and Jim Cassidy trying to bullock out on Angel, and he's into the clear now, and the mare is about to sprout wings. At the 200, Warning Bell the leader, but Angelin has gathered them in one stride. Jackanachi on the inside is getting home strongly. Cassidy throwing everything at Angelin. Jackanachi is driving on its inside. Jackanachi doing better, and Jackanachi has dived to beat Angelin, which looked 4-1.
Regal Centre over on the inside, cut up Rough and Flavour. They're clear from Captainly, followed by Star Dance. Here comes Saintly down the outside. He's unwinding a big run. It's cut up Rough, just the leader on the outside. Saintly, look at him come, the champion. He hits the front. Saintly, a big effort. Races home to a great win in the CF4. Saintly first.
That was the 8th of February, the last time we saw the great horse in action, because he broke down soon after that. Kenny Callander caught up with Bart Cummings at Rosehill Gardens and asked the maestro, how is Saintly doing?
Well, Bart Cummings, two horses everybody'd like to know how they're progressing, the Saintly and Alpha. What about Saintly?
Well, Saintly's at the Lonely Lodge at the moment doing recuperating with slow exercise, walking. He's full of life. I say tranquilise him to exercise him so he won't overdo it, and he's on a laser treatment daily, an inferential stimulation to increase the blood supply to the tendon. So, but it looks very good. It's improved greatly in the last 5 weeks, and we're now just getting confident that he certainly will come back to racing. It's just a matter of how successful he'll be.
What date would you guess we'd see him back?
Oh, well, it'll be 12 months at least from now, Max.
I know it's going to be a biased view, but there's been a lot of talk whether Octagonal or Saintly should be the horse of the year. You obviously think Saintly?
Well, I only just judge with the horses that Saintly beat. He beat the best in the land and the best races in the land, so I think he's up there with the best of them. So just hope that this hasn't impaired his chances too much of becoming the horse of the year. I don't think it has, really.
And what about Alpha? Is he progressing well as too?
Well, he was only not as bad a problem, the tendon that Saintly had, but he's down at very largest place, down at Launceston. He's got a property there in the Tiber River, about a couple hundred acres, and he's got a treadmill there working, exercising on there, and he looks pretty good. He tells me it's almost 80% to 90% right now, but he'll give him a lot more time naturally. But there is some chance he may race the end of this year, but we'll scan it a few times and prior to that, and just to make sure that he's all right.
It's hard to replace horses of such quality, but have you got anything else lined up for the spring that we can cheer home this year?
I have to go and have a look around. I can't think of any. There'll be something there.
I'm sure there will, Bart.
Yeah.
Well, good luck with all of them.
for home at the 400. $1 million coming up, so it seems. He had a bit of a job to get past Al's Gamble. Lord Warden runs into second place, and Malcolm's got to show him the whip. Kingston Town is now livening up at the 200. He bounded away from Lord Warden. Al's Gamble plugging on, but it's all Kingston Town. Let's park the papers on one of the greatest horses in history. Kingston Town greets the judge, and it's $1 million in the purse. Kingston Town beat Lord Warden. 5 lengths away, third is Al's Gamble.
Start 2, Elmerada, one of the first to jump out. Bonfire slow to get going. Out very quickly as General Deem goes straight to the front on settling down. In advance there of Encounter, who began well, and Umrum is in the firing line early. And they're followed closely a bit further back by Dennis Uriah as they race up the hill. Now Dennis Uriah on the outside and General Deem together. About a length in advance of Encounter, followed by Umrum in the box seat. Just in behind them, Tauke as they race over the top of the hill. A length further back is Gold Guru on the outside of Elmerada. 1.5 further back, Mustang Red. And they were being followed by Schubert. 1.5 lengths, McFlirt on the outside of Bradman. 2 lengths away, Knowledge is second last. And Bonfires is back at the tail of the field. A well-strung outfielder as they go along inside the final 1,000. Dennis Uriah, 3/4 of a length on General Nadim. 4 lengths further back, Encounter, a length to Umrum. 2 lengths away, then is Tauke, a length Elmerada. 2.5 lengths to Gold Guru, being followed by Schubert. 2 lengths to Mustang Red, followed by McFlirt, who's a long way off the leader. So is Bradman at that point, followed by Bonfires and Knowledge. And about 15 lengths covering the field, coming up past the 600-metre mark. General Nadim has hit the front in the Guineas. General Nadim, the leader, by a half length in advance of Dennis Uriah. 6 lengths away, Encounter being niggled out. They're followed by Tauke under pressure. Umrum is not responding at the moment. He's losing ground, being passed by Gold Guru and Schubert as they're making the home turn. General Nadim is the leader. Got away by a couple of lengths in advance of Dennis Uriah. Tauke is coming down the outside with a strong run, followed by Encounter. And back in behind them, Gold Guru and Schubert. General Nadim, the leader at the 200-metre mark, is clear. 1.5 lengths, Tauke. Encounter is struggling, and they're followed down the outside by Gold Guru. General Nadim still the leader with 100 metres left to go. Now Encounter, and the clear is coming at him. Encounter hits the front. Encounter wins from Schubert, a nose away third, General Nadim, followed by Tauke. They're followed next home by Gold Guru, and further back is McFlirt, followed by Elmerada. Bonfires, followed by Mustang Red, further back Dennis Uriah, followed by Bradman, and Knowledge is a long way back at the tail of the field, and a bad last there looks to be...
Well, there's one thing we know for sure. General Nadim can run a mile.
Most definitely, certainly can, John. And if he hadn't been taken on all the way, would have definitely fought the finish, literally head and head. It would have been a bob of the heads.
He'd have got home, I think, Simon.
Oh.
Yeah, look, the 3 horses in that finish, General Nadim, I thought his run was absolutely fantastic. Schubert, you can't take anything away from him, and I think pace on in the Cox Plate, pace on in the Victoria Derby, and he's going to be right in both finishes. And, of course, the winner, how good is he? He made all those mistakes. He got on his wrong leg. I thought he was completely uncomfortable. I said to Ken on the telecast yesterday, I tapped him on the shoulder, I said, this got no hope. Yeah. And that was at the 800 metres. Now, for a horse still to make, in a class race like that, still make mistakes and get home, how good is he?
That's right. Shane, shades of octagonal in a way. He's got that ability to lift when the chips are down, hasn't he?
Well, he's had 4 runs over a mile, John, and he's won on every occasion. And the thing about octagonal is he couldn't win this race. And his form going into the Cox Plate is nowhere near as good as Encounter's. But, of course, he could stay. We don't know whether Encounter will stay. But the way he's finishing his races off, and if you go back to the Champagne Stakes, he found the line very, very strongly as a 2-year-old in a mile. And he found the line yesterday, and he should have got beat yesterday. And for him to win, it was an outstanding trial for the Cox Plate.
Would you agree, though, that everything Encounter did, Schubert did as much, if not a bit more?
No, because Schubert was further back, and you got to remember there was a wind blowing, and horses on the fence weren't really happy yesterday in some races, and that's why General Nadim's run was very good. And I got on the wrong leg, and my horse is going to improve a lot more than Schubert will, and he's probably already had a better preparation going to a Cox Plate than Schubert. So I don't totally agree with Schubert is a better horse than Encounter for a Cox Plate.
Now, we let Simon back with a lot of the beaten brigade after the Guineas, commencing with Danny Nikolic, who rode Umrum.
Danny Umrum, he was a beaten horse a long way from home, wasn't he?
Yeah, I was gone at the 700, Simon. Travelled okay, got to the 700 and asked him to quicken a little bit, just try and keep Encounter inside me. When I asked him to quicken, his whole action went, he felt sore behind, and I was gone 600.
When I straightened up, I was under a bit of pressure, and you know, I think the horse is just a little bit immature at this stage, and hopefully with a little bit of a break and next time in he can graduate and find that few lengths that he needs to.
I was sort of beaten for speed early, so I had to really you know, ask him to go to the line pretty hard, but it was a nice run.
He sat back off him. He seems to have lost his turn of foot. He may be a Derby horse.
that's the way he raced today. Even last start, he just seems to has lost that speed. So, no, I think you've certainly got to head towards the Derby with him now.
Brian, the General, he was a little annoyed early, wasn't he? Things didn't really go his way.
No, well, it drove us mad, that Dennis Araya, but obviously he was there for a reason when he did his job, I guess.
If Dennis Araya didn't annoy you, you believe he would have won well and
I think he would have won. You know, he was still going to win 20 metres out, and they just want us to last a little bit. So without that horse there annoying us, he would have won.
No doubt about him running the mile, is there?
He'll get it, you know, when that sort of thing doesn't happen to him.
Well, Simon Marshall also caught up with the General's trainer, Bill Mitchell, and asked the trainer how much did Dennis Araya affect the prospects of General Nadim?
Oh, I think there's no risk. If he was left alone, he probably could have won the race. You know, if he could have led him by 2 or 3 lengths and had a bit more, you know, we would have been able to save himself up a bit more. But he is a horse that likes to get racing, and when another horse comes along, it makes it hard for York to pull him in behind. And, you know, he'd rather be a free-rolling sort of horse. So, yeah, disappointing that horse that probably had no hope in the race ended up driving us mad.
Good on you, Billy Mitchell, and hurry into the way that race was run, or the tactics on Dennis Araya?
Well, not that I know of. I've read nothing of it this morning. So basically, it's all clear from the race. But Gay, I suppose you'd have a point on that with gossips a time ago.
Yes, well, in Australia, they don't allow it, the stewards. Overseas, of course, they declare a pacemaker, and I said this in my article the other day, that, you know, overseas, they declare a pacemaker, they say the horse is going up to make the pace, and punters can bet accordingly, and often are pleased to know the horse is going to be the pacemaker. It's not the same in Australia. But then again, if the rider of that horse thought it was best suited there, if it had won, you know, everyone would say, well, aren't they a genius?
Yeah.
John?
Well, it's a matter of interpretation, isn't it, between stewards in different states?
Yeah, correct. I mean, they are very different. And I suppose just getting off that point, we saw 2 different trainers yesterday, didn't we? Bill Mitchell unhappy, and we saw Clary Connors very happy. I caught up with him after the race.
You and Shane Dye going to celebrate this together? I think you'd be getting on famously today, wouldn't you?
Yeah, he had given me a kiss on the cheek earlier, I'm just saying. That was a lovely little pecker on the cheek.
You'd be getting a blown-up photo of it?
No, thank you.
Clary, well done. What's next for him before we go?
He'll run in the Cox Plate, and you know, if he wins or performs well and we're happy with the horse, the Derby's the thought. If it looks like a race he could win, you know. But I don't really think he's a 2,500 metre horse. But if it's an easy race, we'll try and send him around in it.
And the Rajah of Warwick Farm strikes again in the Group 1. Shane Dye at Sandown, you had something to say about the tactics in the Guineas?
Yeah, well, the stewards got it right. They didn't open an investigation. They didn't need to. Dennis Araya always goes hard in races. Greg Hall told me before the race he wouldn't be able to stop it, Jimmy. General could have come back off them if you could have stopped it. When you're on a front runner, John, you're not going to get the race run always the whole way easy. Al Mastay did 2 years ago and he won. But he couldn't this year, General Nadim. And the stewards of Melbourne have really got these races going good and run right with their inquiries.
Shane, we've got a photo that I'd like you to feast your eyes upon in a rare show of...
Pakaraka, Star Day, Rabai and Seascales last of all. They're well packed up coming down the side. Just over 600 metres left to go. Juggler on the inside, one of the leaders with Falonde. And they're followed closely by Magnet Bay, and just in behind them, Tarn Lane's had a nice run. Alpha next the outside, followed by Moss Downs. Day Rabai ridden along, followed by Seascale. And Pakaraka Star a bad last as they round the home turn. 400 metres out. Juggler on the inside, Falonde. Not much between the pair of them. As they straighten up, Falonde's got his head in front of Juggler. Falonde's kicked away, coming down towards the 250. Leads over a length the Juggler, who can't go on. Alpha next is under pressure. Tarn Lane is under the whip, followed by Moss Downs, but Falonde's the leader. Coming down inside the final 200 metres from Alpha on the outside, finishing on. Tarn Lane and Seascape from a long way back, but it's Falonde for the Yarn Mistakes. He wins it well, 2 lengths to Alpha. Tarn Lane is third, close up for the Seascape, followed by Moss Downs. Juggler didn't go on in the straight. Magnet Bay behind the day.
Gosh, he's an imposing horse when he's firing, Falonte. Now, we had an isolated camera on the Falonte connections in the stand as the horses thundered down the straight. Beryl White, her usual excitable self, Jack Denham allowing a little deep-seated emotion to bubble to the surface. A kiss for Beryl, and a handshake for Jeff sitting on his right. Now, I thought that might have been a wind pain, but I think it was a fair dinkum smile.
Oh, it's great. It's great to see. I mean, I don't know Jack Denham overly well, but apparently he's a real toiler and a hard worker, and the luck he has for the Whites, who invest a lot of money in the industry, I think it's a great combination, the two of them.
Yeah, he probably wouldn't win a talent quest, you know, musically, but I'll tell you what he can do, mate. He can train a racehorse.
He'd be good in the black and white movies where you didn't have to say anything.
Gay, Juggler, what happened?
Well, Juggler, there was early in the piece of the race, John, it was a muddling pace. When he jumped, he slightly missed the start. Darren had to put him into the race. He then over-raced for the first 2 furlongs. Darren elected to go to the lead. He had no other choice. Then the pace really quickened, and Juggler he was taken on at 2 different stages, which is not the way he normally races. And he came into the straight, and if you watch the replay, you see his head go up, and he changed his stride, his head go up, change stride, and even on the post he does that. So he jarred up very badly. He's a horse that doesn't like a lightning hard track. Caulfield yesterday was a very fast, electrifying track.
So from a Cox Plate viewpoint, his stocks haven't slumped in your eyes?
No, not at all. Look, Volante's the horse to beat in the Cox Plate. What's he done wrong? Nothing. You know, the 3 rolls finished in a bunch. My bloke was disappointing. He's entitled to 1 bad race. He'll certainly appreciate Moonee Valley with the give in the ground.
Yeah, well, we saw Volante fight back from a defeat last week, and we'll see Juggler do it as well. But I caught up with Jimmy Cassidy after the race and asked him how good Volante felt.
Oh, I've never seen his attitude as good as what he was today, going to the boxes in the barrier and more so in transit. When I said woo, he said woo, and he was happy to do anything I wanted today, so I was thrilled with him.
What could have set him off during the race? When Juggler shot around you there and he was reefing and pulling prior to that, Beedman let him go. I mean, he still just stayed right under you, didn't he? Didn't actually want to race him at that stage?
No, well, he had the opportunity midway through the race to get revved up when Juggler went forward, but, you know, I never stopped talking to him in a race, woo, big boy, and this sort of thing, and, you know, today he was as focused as what I was, and, you know, it's the difference of winning and losing.
That man, Simon Marshall, was at it again after the Yolumba Stakes. He spoke to some of the beaten riders, commencing with Stephen King.
Stephen Alpha, it was a great run. Volante maybe just too brilliant on the day.
Yes, Simon. I mean, it was a stop-and-start race, so I was committed to come back to last on him and just sort of ride patiently on him, and look, it was a super run. It really was a super run. Naturally, Volante was a bit brilliant, you know.
He was in there to have a hard race today, but not that hard. I didn't feel that I could go up and compete with Volante and Juggler from the half-mile onwards. Then, basically at the top of the straight, Volante just out-sprinted me. Alpha came from behind me. It was a good run from a Cox Plate point of view. But Volante has got the ability to race up there on the speed and settle nicely, which is a great asset for a Cox Plate. He's definitely going to be the horse to beat in the Cox Plate.
He just wanted to over-race a little bit up the hill. He settled nicely once I got to the front, but he was a bit of a chopping block for the other horses. They were able to sort of put a bit of pressure on him, and he didn't really stretch out all that well down the running. Maybe the ground was a little bit firm for him.
Yes, it'll be interesting to see what the ground's like for the Cox Plate in a few weeks. Let's take a quick look at the market and see where they are at the moment, and why wouldn't Volante be 5-2 favourite? Encounter there at 7-2, starting to look like a race in 2. Juggler 5-1, 7-1 Alpha and Tarn per lane. 3-year-old Schubert is there as well. Doremus, Moss Downs and Viali all in the market. So here we go. Sir Boom is about 3 out there, John. Now, the winner is Pengula in the white, his big white blaze down the face, the yellow colours and the red cap. It was an absolute belter, and that's Catlin opening, coming down the outside to try and get him. Couldn't in the end, Shane. What did you think of the race yourself?
You just throw the form out of this race out the window. It's not worth anything at all. There was a strong breeze blowing down the side, and the horses on the fence were getting thrown off balance really bad. I was in the race. That's why the winner and the second horse come from third last 3 wide and just in front of it, and they were 3 and 4 wide going around them the whole way. And I believe that's why they won the race, or run first and second, because they were out of the wind. And gets it to be very, very strong at Caulfield, that wind down the side.
Look up after the break, and let's go to that break with the closing stages of a pipeline to victory.
As they come around the home turn, Crying Game being tackled by Pondbar Ghost in the centre. Under pressure deeper on the track as Bright Spot as they straighten up. Bonsai Pipeline behind them. Jogar coming down the outside. Then Aphasia and well back to Noble Ben Barbara. They're halfway down the running. Bright Spot on the outside has taken the lead from Crying Game. Pondbar Ghost is third, followed by Jogar. Bonsai Pipeline. Bright Spot is the leader. 100 metres left to go is going strongly. A length clear of Crying Game and Bonsai Pipeline in the clear running on strongly. Bonsai Pipeline coming at Bright Spot. Bonsai Pipeline. Bonsai Pipeline wins it from Bright Spot, tight for third.
200, there's only one danger, if any. Heart Ruler, linesman is grinding away. Heart Ruler gallant on the outside, inch by inches, pegging him back. It's the Cassidy brothers. Linesman, Heart Ruler lunging, and she got there. Heart Ruler in the last stride got up to win the Metropolitan from linesman. Court of Honour will get...
Cassidy, what did you say to brother Larry when you caught linesman right on the line?
Oh, geez, it was a tough battle the last 50, but I said, cop that and cut our luggers.
Terrific race, the Metropolitan Handicap. Usually when you get 100 yards...
Greg Hall again aboard, 3 wide in the red cap there and the green and white hoops, the red sleeves. Now, you know, I just think there's been some tough racing so far. Some of these lightweight chances can actually draw a gate, and I include Dayro Bay in that. I think they're just they're real genuine chances. You know, Dayro Bay's going to go around with 49. So you'll hear from me if she wins it. I can...
About bad rides in the last week. This was the daddy of them all. Gerald Mosse, fair dinkum, mutilated nothing like a Dane in the Arc de Triomphe. He took off mid-race when they were going at a furious pace in front. He got posted 7 and 8 deep and, not surprisingly, wilted to run second last. The 2 leaders are Helicio in the yellow colours and Swain. Watch for the 3-year-old Pant Celebra as we pick up the commentary in the Arc de Triomphe at Longchamp.
To run, and Swain has taken it up now, and here comes Pantsaleb and Pilsudski. It's Swain in the centre, but Pantsaleb has taken it up now, being challenged by Pilsudski. Pantsaleb is the leader from Pilsudski, and Swain as they race up towards the line. A big finish by Oscar Schindler, but Pantsaleb is going to win the Arc de Triomphe as they race up towards the line. Pantsaleb has won it, Pilsudski in second. It's a photo for third with Borgia possibly just getting up to nose Oscar Schindler.
Crossing at the 800, Monet's Cove, the leader. A length to Falante, a length to Encounter. Juggler 3 deep around into Gaze and Iron Horse, and 2 lengths away King Ivor as they approach the 600 metres mark, nearing the turn. And Monet's Cove is joined on the inside by Falante. Encounter's got a beautiful spot third, a length away, about 2 to Juggler on the outside of Into Gaze, who's travelling okay. Iron Horse on the fence, and King Ivor last as they turn into the straight. Coming over the rise, Monet's Cove and Falante. Encounter's about to go up to them with Dye looking back for the others, and they're headed by Juggler and Into Gaze. Coming to the 200, Encounter went to the lead from Falante. Juggler's about to run into third place on the outside. He's finishing on doggedly. Encounter's a narrow leader from Falante as they get near home. Juggler really trying in the last bit, but Encounter with the huge pull in the weights won the George Main over Falante. Juggler has run third, followed by Into Gaze.
Gee, Juggler was doing his best work in the last 50 metres.
Yeah, a lot of people were critical of Glenn Boss's ride, but I was in a position at the half mile where if Glenn was going to go, I was going to go. Even if it was at the 1,000 or the half mile, there's no way I would have let Juggler have gone. So he was in a very, very difficult position. So he was hoping he could out-sprint me, which proved yesterday he couldn't. But I don't think he would have won no matter what, because I would have gone at the half mile. I thought Falante ran very, very well.
Yeah, he lost a hind plate too.
Very outstanding run.
Well, Glenn Boss and Gay Waterhouse are the...
15 or an 1,800 metre race, and she's got a little less weight.
A little bit of the inside oil, always aloof. Now, he came over here, no one expected him to get warm probably until he got around Melbourne Cup time, but, oh, geez, he's been an excellent horse, hasn't he?
Well, he's been a revelation for us. His owner, when he sent him over, Mr. Hanson, thought that the horse may in fact be too slow for Australian racing conditions, but I guess with different training and feeding methods and that, this horse is really flying at the moment, and we're ecstatic about his chances in the upcoming Cups.
Yeah, I mean, 1,800 here in the Underwood Stakes. I mean, everything was thrown at him in the last little bit. I thought his last 20 metres, he looked like he was going to get beaten by yesterday, but he just found again, didn't he? He's a real competitor.
He did, and I spoke to the owner on Monday, I think it was, and he said that's his trademark in Europe. He said if he gets into a dogfight the last bit, he's a really tough competitor to beat.
Let's see Tappy, inside oil from Melbourne on a beautiful day.
You know, from a Cox plate...
Up the trail to come after her. Wider out is Viali. Coleman asked Moss Downs for the effort, and he's got him by 2. Viali tries hard, and then we've got Supercrest. Moss Downs is 4 lengths in front with 100 to go. The Celts all over. Then Viali, Magnet Bay, Supercrest. Moss Downs has done enough. Moss Downs, great day, the locals. Viali, Magnet Bay, Flume.
There's a clear-cut leader at the 600 by 2 on General Nadim, who's travelling pretty generously. In third place, Trader Vic, Powers 3 deep, followed by Pleasure Giver, niggled a bit, and then Tri Cove and Baycan Empire last as they come around the corner. Into the straight, and the filly Addy Win is in front, a length on General Nadim with Brian York looking pretty cosy. 2 lengths away, Trader Vic, then Pleasure Giver, who's another 2 off and is hard ridden now as they come over the rise where General Nadim went straight past Addy Win. Pleasure Giver on the outside is running on gamely. General Nadim with a terrific turn of acceleration is about 3 in front of Pleasure Giver, who's running home very gamely. General Nadim has to be shaken up by York in the last bit. He hangs on to win at about 3/4 of a length to Pleasure Giver, who got to the line really well. Trader Vic third, then Tri Cove, followed by Baycan. Well, that was a Stan Fox Stakes, and General Nadim made it 9 out of 10. Lee Friedman, can he win the Caulfield Guineas?
I think there's a scenario where he probably could win, but I don't doubt that he could run 1,600 metres, but I think he's going to find Encounter very hard to beat. And I think, you know, both these Sydney horses have got it on our colts here. The big risk is if they come here to Melbourne and they don't handle our way around, then there's a couple of good colts here who'll test them. But at this stage, I'd say everything in order. Encounter would be very hard to beat.
In the colour, the bright green with the yellow cap.
Well, naturally, I'm looking for a run. I come off the fence because the fence was no good yesterday, and Darren took the punt on it and got away with it. But I got held up here, and there's no doubt I think I should have won the race. I think the 2 chances in the Spring Championship Stakes are Tie the Knot and Almirada, and I wouldn't be surprised to see my horse Almirada beat him. And not only that, go on to win a race like the Victorian Derby. I think he's a very, very good horse. That was my first ride on him. But Darren rode a sensational race on Tie the Knot. He took the punt to the horse would handle the wet track or the sting out of it, which it did. Got a lovely run.
Darren was rather surprised that he got so many inside runs, as he told Ken Callander.
Darren Beedman, why did the others keep wanting to get off the rail?
Who knows, mate? The Red Sea was like the Red Sea. It just kept opening up for me. So
was it all right, though? It
was all right, yeah. It suited me fine because I had in mind I had the horse run next week, and I wanted to try and give him as cushy a run as I could with 57.5, and it worked that way. It was a lovely win.
He's a nice horse, isn't he?
He is. He's every run you can notice how he's just turned the corner and switched on and given himself a chance mid-race and before the race. So I think, you know, as an autumn, he's going to be a super horse, and this time next year he could develop into a cup horse.
Now, what about next week, the Champion Stakes? Happy to be on him?
Oh, for sure. Like, you know, set weights, conditions, and, you know, he pulled up blowing a little bit after the run, so he just seems to be just coming right at the right time of his preparation for this type of race.
Shin Can See, Bull Market, Mr. Innocent on the outside. There's a rails run for Spend. Janko hooked out is running on pretty well as they come to the 200 where the Coffs Harbour Cult. Mr. Innocent stormed to the lead. Spend on the inside is getting out after him now. Mr. Innocent tackled by Spend on the inside. Spend is getting right up on the rail, but Mr. Innocent is holding him as they get near home. They've come a long way for this, and home goes the Coffs Harbour Cult. Mr. Innocent beats Spend. Shin Can See has run third. Brilliam's fourth, and then Romden a clear-cut leader over Pete's Passion. Niagara's under pressure coming over the rise. Pimpala Sun running a bit of a race, followed by Ravada, Crows Before Dawn, and then Holy Roller and Timeless wins. Romden booted away at the 200. He's going strongly. Pimpala Sun in second place is coming after him. Pimpala Sun is closing on Romden. Further out, Ravada, Prairie, and look at Blazing Steel jumping out of the ground. Pimpala Sun grabs the lead. Holy Roller came out of the ground. Holy Roller's come from nowhere, and they hit the line, and I'm not sure Holy Roller or Pimpala Sun. Holy Roller got there by a nose from Pimpala Sun with Prairie third. I just about gave up on Holy Roller. Didn't look like getting a run, but he did. Your horse Niagara put in a shocker.
Very disappointing. Don't know what went wrong. He was gone a long way from home. I don't think we saw the Epsom winner out of that race. Normally when they finish very close in a race like that, John, the form's not good. You can't take anything away from Holy Roller, though. It was a very good win, and he found the line strong.
In the middle is Dane Ripper, Larry Cassidy, and Darren Beedman is on Alpha. They went 1:15.2 for the 1200 and 34.19 for the last 600. But like most of Bart's horses, they travelled well off their top.
Looking at them, I thought Dane Ripper worked the best, the horse in the middle, and it's very interesting to see that Darren Beedman has got off Alpha to ride Dane Ripper, or he's chosen Dane Ripper over Alpha.
Right, and Glenn Boss, I think, goes on to Alpha.
Yeah, so it's a major switch for riding engagements in the Epsom.
Well, how do you...
Fatal is tackled by Heart Ruler. Linesman's gone, and then Emerald Cut and Aphasia, but Jimmy Cassidy shot Heart Ruler to the lead 100 metres out, and this consistent mare is going to break through for a well-deserved win. It's all Heart Ruler, and she kills him in the run of the judge. Fatal fourth.
Eastern Star, and then came Cohort, followed by the North, and Blazing Steel at the tail of the field on the inside of Monopolise. 500 to go, coming to the turn, the Pacer Cracker. Quick Flick led Sovereign State, accomplice third. Cheap to Beers from Quick Return. Mahogany looks to be full of running. He's looking for the way out. Catlin opening went around them, and Blazing Steel's getting a lovely run on the fence. Quick Flick headed for home at the 300. Accomplice coming after him. Cheap to Beers. Blazing Steel's gone up behind them. Mahogany is under the whip. Inside the 200, Accomplice and Quick Flick led. Cheap to Beers. Blazing Steel trying hard, but drove Accomplice to the lead. Blazing Steel's out now, but the bird's blown. Accomplice drew away from Blazing Steel, and Accomplice wins the 10,000. Blazing Steel is second, third's a photo. Monopolise flew home. He's in a
well, Shane Dye winning his 12th Group 1 on Accomplice. Shane, does he remind you at all of his sire, Kenny Ladd?
Well, no doubt he does. Kenny Ladd never stopped giving in a race, and this horse is the same. The second horse might have been a little bit unlucky, Simon, but there's no way he would have won the race. He probably runs me to about half a length, and that would have been it. The other good run in the race was Monopolise.
Correct. I thought Monopolise's run was very good. I think Darren Beedman wrapped it up pretty well afterwards. I don't think he was overly comfortable in the ground, yet still ran a slashing race. And Mahogany, of course, look, you can't spit on the ground, and he just won't let himself go. That ride of Greg Hall's was spot on, gave him every chance, but I don't think the old horse just wanted to let fly.
In the Stradbroke in 2 weeks' time, Monopolise meets Accomplish a lot worse. He gets in very well on the weights, Accomplish, and so does the second horse, Blazing Steel.
Winner Malagua, a great, big, gangly, long-legged, buff-headed 4-year-old grey gelding, and he looks as though he takes plenty of riding. It was noticeable, Shane, yesterday that Larry wanted him to be there and running.
Yeah, there's no doubt. His form's been excellent. Johnny Hawkes has taken him along quietly. He's got a light weight in the Stradbroke, and if he can relax a little bit more, he's going to have a great chance.
I just think, you know, look at him here, he's just not settling at all in his run. Now, coming against these seasoned group horses, if he wants to make mistakes like that, I don't think he'll give himself a chance of winning the race. The seasoned group horses with that bit of steam left for your last furlong 300 metres are going to eat him up.
Well, he's had 8 starts now and won 6 of them. The only problem is I don't think this is a good guide because the rest of them aren't much good, Simon.
Yeah, and look, the pressure of Group 1 races is far different. And,
oh, yeah. Watch him lengthen stride here. Doesn't he eat the ground?
He certainly does. He quickens like a good horse. He's had every chance to develop, and as I said before, Johnny's taken him along quietly. And everything else had their chance. There's no unlucky runner in the race. He was just too impressive.
Tell you what does add a bit of merit to his win, the sectional time. He came home 600 in 35.25. Accomplice came home in 35.20.
No doubt. He wouldn't have beat Accomplice, though.
No, you did right. I win anywhere near Accomplice.
Alan Thomas caught up with the little Kiwi Larry Cassidy after that race.
Is Malagua Group 1 material, Larry?
I certainly think he'll develop into a Group 1 horse. Yeah, he's still pretty immature at the moment, and he is getting better all the time and learning all the time with racing.
Are you surprised he went as forward early as he did in the race?
No, not really. I think if I had a ride on him prior to my last ride on him, I'm sure I would have won on him last start. I think I would have ridden him a little bit differently. And with the benefit of having the ride on him, I knew that was the way to ride him today, especially when there wasn't going to be a lot of speed on.
Does he still do a few things wrong in the run?
Yeah, he does. He's a sort of horse, if you get back in the field, he's so big and awkward. You just get into all sorts of trouble on him. So being up there out of trouble, providing he's travelling comfortable like he was today, is the best place to be.
Well, just to hold her in the pocket. York's got to come back across their heels and out, so gee whiz, her run was terrific.
Outstanding win by staging, but I still wouldn't give up on Trader Vic. I think he's a very good horse. He hasn't had a run for 4 weeks. Darren Beedman said he didn't handle the track at all. He's going to be hard to beat. The third horse, very good run evader. Found the line, Sires, Castlemaine, watch for him.
Well, let's see what Johnny Hawkes had to say about Trader Vic's defeat.
John, what happened on the bend?
You know, Brian was travelling better and was just trying to push Trader Vic out the road, but Darren pushed him back in. But you know, the best horse won on the day. You know, Blake wasn't good enough, and well, the winner was just too good.
Does he continue a campaign in Brisbane, Trader Vic?
Yeah, he'll run in the sires, and then we'll just take stock from there. If he wins that, well, then he'll go into the Castlemaine. So, but, you know, he ran terrific, but on the day, the winner was just too good.
A sporting attitude by Johnny Hawkes. OK, let's go to...
Day Fan on the corner, 400 out. Spirit of Oregon, Jean's Interest, Kingston Clan. Banner Headline getting into the clear. Video Kid sprinted up quickly on the outside and went past Banner Headline. And then Blue Gum and Marble Halls is winning its way through the field. Jean's Interest led inside the 200. Video Kid, Banner Headline, and now Marble Halls. Banner Headline and Video Kid, but Marble Halls joined in. Marble Halls got the Banner Headline close to home. Marble Halls has beaten Banner Headline. Third, I think, Mr. Brannigan, which came home late in front of Video Kid.
What do you make of Banner Headline's run?
It was a really grinding, staying type of run. He coming to the home turn, he wasn't really going good enough to run the first three, but shortly after we straightened up inside of that Video Kid, he got another go on, and he looked like he might either win or run again, but he just doesn't have the turn of foot. I mean, Marble Halls just showed a bit too much acceleration down the outside for him, but he really is a stayer, I think.
Damien, he was fairly impressive, that horse.
Yeah, it was lovely winner, and you know, he got a good run through the race. He was always travelling like the winner. Had to change course a couple of times, but you know, it was a strong win in the finish.
It looked as though he might have had a little bit up the sleeve when they hit the line as well.
Yeah, you know, he only owed a win, I suppose, and that's all he did. But you know, he's a horse we've always had a little bit of an opinion of, and you know, can't be too sure on their first way in the opposite direction. But, you know, he handled it well today, and he's a horse that's just going to keep on improving.
The Rody McCoppy book race, he just looms into second place on the turn in those famous Lone Star colours. You're on the outside, Shane, all Cerise, hello, Dale.
Very good run. I couldn't get on the track. I was 3 or 4 horses deep the whole way, and hello, Dale. She's a horse to follow. Watch this horse right down on the outside, White Cap, Shaskate, won a Canterbury Guineas. Very good run yesterday.
This horse would run in the Doomben Cup for sure, wouldn't he, Iron Horse?
Yes.
Yeah, certainly, and I think it's going to be a good money spinner, as you said before. Zero Limit, a good run. It's an improved horse who's just gone to Queensland. It was very temperamental down in Melbourne, but seems to have settled a bit and become more consistent up there.
This 2-year-old colt, Olaf, all Cerise, right-hand side of your screen. This race was 1,500 metres. He needs a lot further than 1,500. Grey Jest and a hook shot on the outside in the pale green. Red Furno is the horse on the fence at long odds. Olaf takes half an hour to pick them up, Shane. He'll run a mile and a half, won't he?
I rode him last start, 1,200 metres, and I've got a huge opinion of this horse. I think he could develop into a Victorian Derby type of horse. I think he's going for a spell now, and they might even geld him, and he'll just turn out to be an outstanding stayer.
Which one was Grey Jest?
Almost white as a 2-year-old, yeah. Well, you can talk about Doomben 10,000s and derbies and whatever you like, but the race everybody's been talking about this week was a 1,400-metre welter at Ascot in Perth last Wednesday. There was a 13-8 on favourite by the name of Gypsy Lad, and to say he missed the kick is an understatement.
Now they look right, they're off. Twist and Shout just ambled out of the gates. Oh, the favourite Gypsy Lad stood in the stalls. Gypsy Lad has missed the kick by the best part of 15 lengths, and Irish Rort won the start over Pateur. There's a sensation to the start of the welter. Corporate Memory away quickly, being followed by Draft Choice, and over on the outside is Coachwood. He's slowing them right down, and Gypsy Lad has picked the field up in the twinkling of an eye, and he's going to go right around them, and he takes the lead. Well, there's a spectacular state of affairs. Gypsy Lad 15 lengths behind the field when the starter said go, and he's now in front at the 850. Can he keep going around the corner? Miller's given him full rein, Gypsy Lad, and he quickly put 2.5 lengths on Pateur. Corporate Memory is starting to run on from Irish Rort. Miller's now getting into Gypsy Lad. He's getting a little weary. Here comes Irish Rort, but Gypsy Lad's still got a clear break. Irish Rort is gobbling up the ground, but what a mighty performance by Gypsy Lad. An incredible effort. Gypsy Lad has won from Irish Rort.
In front, Lord Ted into the clear, and down the outside, King's Landing. It's Derobe, and on the inside, battling on Beechwood Road, and now Markham starting to extend the filly. Derobe just in front, but Markham's got her. Markham raced up on the outside, and it's Markham's Derby. Markham wins the Malaysia Airlines SA Derby for 97 by 2.5. King's Landing a bold second. Third placing Derobe, every chance, followed by Lord Ted.
Lee Friedman trained Miss Tesla, beat them very, very easily. Stephen King just turns her loose coming around the bend where she's 5 or 6 off the fence. Nice moving there, and I think they've got a bit of a rap on it too, haven't they?
Yeah, I think the rap is developing. In Melbourne, I think there was 3 starts there. It was 2, 3, 2, 2. You know, it might have been 4 starts. She just wasn't getting to the line. And her last couple of starts have just been sensational. She's actually got better with training, with work, and some black types gone into the family there yesterday. It was a very impressive win. Never looked like getting beat.
OK, the West End Stakes yesterday is one of the stepping stones to the Adelaide Cup, and Roger James from Shane's hometown of Matamata produced a 4-year-old gelding by Zabeel with Grant Cooksley in the saddle. This was his 9th race start. He's in front as they come around the turn. He's won 5 out of 9 with about 3 placings. And can he stay?
He's an outstanding stayer. I'll ride him in the Adelaide Cup on Monday week, and he looks the winner to me. There was no excuses for any other runner in the race. He meets them better probably at the weights in the Adelaide Cup. I'd watched his videos 3 weeks ago in New Zealand, and he was only going to get better and better, and for mine, he's the winner.
Looking at that tape again, I didn't realise just how easy he won the race. I mean, he basically blitzed his rivals. Skybar, I thought, was a good run. And also Cockade. Both those came down the turn together, probably giving the winner 7 or 8 lengths. And they've taken a length or 2 off him, but probably not enough significant lengths to say they're good cup things.
I was watching some tapes in New Zealand, Marble Halls and Cronus racing 6 months ago. Cronus looked the better horse than Marble Halls, and we saw what he did yesterday, and then 5 minutes later this horse come out and did that.
OK, time to take
Manicado's raced up to take the lead. Manicado's moved to the front from Bernard. Akamar, Steel Blade and Imposing, trying hard. Joy Eater's right down the outside with Pacifica. It's Manicado in front. Steel Blade and Imposing, trying hard to pick up Manicado. Manicado's in front. He's stopping. They're flying at him close to home. Casca's coming from the clouds, but Manicado